our former state senator here in DeWitt County. Rose, how are you, sir?
Hey, buddy, how you been?
I've been well. How about yourself? You doing all right?
Yeah, man, we're rocking and rolling.
Now, do you have kids in college yet? Are we to that point yet?
Oh yeah, I got 2 kids in college.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, how about you? How you been?
No kids in college, but it's not far. It is not far. Always good to talk to you, my friend. And I'll tell you what. Let's get your thoughts. Let's dive into it. The governor's State of the State budget address last week. What'd you think? What did you take away?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the budget as proposed wasn't the worst budget in the world the guy's ever proposed, but it was the rest of the speech that was ridiculous. I mean, he ends up calling basically everybody that voted for Donald Trump, and I mean, literally a Nazi. I mean, this is so extraordinary. Obviously, Governor Pritzker's, using this as to launch his presidential campaign. But like, buddy, you're governor of Illinois. Just stop. Worry about Illinois long enough to get a budget done here. And then you go run off and pretend you're going to be president somewhere else. But to use the state of the budget address, the state of the state address, in that fashion, and to insult, literally, the people who voted for Trump in this state, it just, he just can't help himself. And, I will also point out when it comes to, being an actual budget that he introduced, Seth, he told us in November that the state of Illinois is going to have a $3 billion deficit, $3.1 billion deficit. Then suddenly, the day before his budget speech, $2 billion drops out of the thin blue air and he says, "Oh, it's only $1 billion. Look at that. Isn't that interesting? Whoa, look at it. Whoa, revenues are coming in better than we thought. We got an extra $2 billion. Whoa, holy cow, where'd that come from?" Seth, can anybody really believe this, right? Which gets me back to my first point, which is this wasn't a budget speech, the presidential campaign launch. And, at the end of the day, I don't think the guy will ever be president, thank goodness, but don't tell him that. And, the rest of us are stuck here in Illinois, kind of dealing with his presidential ambitions because, he's spending more time, on that than he is governing Illinois.
Yeah.
We just need somebody that keeps the trains running on time here. Make sure the lights turn on here, right? And,
I was going to say it's been 6 years of this, of him using Illinois to be be his little launching pad to the presidency, and it's like, where is Illinois at in those 6 years?
Yeah, downhill. That's where we've been.
Yeah. Well, and so, where did this $2 billion fall from the sky? Where did this come from that all of a sudden, we don't have this deficit and we can increase spending this year? I was surprised to hear we're increasing spending in this budget.
Well, yeah, so let's talk about that. Under Governor Pritzker, since he got here, he's increased spending if this budget were to pass, it would be up $15 billion, okay? It would be a 38% increase just in time since he got here. Now, as it is, he's already up $13 billion and a 34% increase, okay? So, I'm sorry, 32% increase. So he's gone up almost a third just in 6 years. I mean, this is just totally unsustainable, Seth. Totally unsustainable.
Mm-hmm.
But, when $2 billion drops out of thin air and says, "Hey, look at that," suddenly he can file a budget that on paper, quote unquote, doesn't look too bad. But again, it's not real.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, Rose, you're really good at sniffing out the gimmicks and the the whatever else you want to call it in the budget. What's good, what's bad in this thing?
Well, first of all, he says he wants to end, start to end some of this idiotic health care for illegal immigrants, which is, great. But when he says that, he knows damn well that the leftist progressive liberals in the House and the Senate, which have 2/3 majority in the House and the Senate, won't ever pass that. So, he can say what he wants about ending, one of those free giveaways to illegals, but the reality is it's not going to pass under the super majorities that run the Senate. So, right there, that's a $400 million hole that gets blown in the whole thing. That he knew damn good and well when he said it. And of course, that is also part of his presidential thing. He looks around the room and says, "Oh, look at this. People are really mad about it. Free money for illegals. So I better look like I'm doing something." So he throws something in the speech, knowing darn good and well that his progressives will never pass it. And oh, by the way, he didn't cancel all of it. So let's just be clear: he canceled a portion of the free health care for illegal immigrants. There's still plenty of free health care to go around if you're an illegal immigrant. Not exactly free if you're a citizen of Illinois who works every day. You get to pay premiums and co-pays. But hey, if you come here illegally, don't worry about it. We got you. I mean, it's just totally ridiculous. Totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's I can keep going. I can talk about development disabled, but I don't want to go on forever.
And it's funny. Just a quick sidebar on the what you're talking about with the illegal funding. It's always, to me, it's these speeches and these pro forma things these politicians do, and I don't mean to loop you into that there, Rose, but it always comes down to, what do you do? I don't care what you say. What do you do? How do you vote? What do you propose? Those sorts of things. Or like when the rubber meets the road, where are you at? If that makes sense.
Well, let me say a couple things. First of all, obviously, I didn't vote to expand illegal health care to illegal immigrants in the first place, right? I mean, that's like any rational person would know that's a bad idea. So, I put my vote where my mouth is, and voted no. The other thing I will tell you is I am co-chair of the Audit Commission, and one of the things that is very important in this debate is to show the citizens of Illinois what the real numbers are. Okay. So, for example, yesterday, the Auditor General released an audit that was requested by the commission that I co-chair of how much money is actually being spent on illegals, right, for healthcare. This is just healthcare, not everything else, just healthcare, okay? Governor Pritzker told us in one category, one single category of healthcare, he underestimated expenditures by 288%, all right? So he goes to Joseph and says, "Oh, hey, it doesn't cost that much. Don't worry about it. This is just like, you don't need to worry about this. This is not going to be a big deal." Turns out that the program costs 288% more than what he estimated it at. Okay, that's just one of them. Mm-hmm. There was another one that was like 282% more. There's another one that was like 86% more. Again, this is all illegal. This is all healthcare for illegal immigrants. Mm-hmm. Seth. So, and then you look at what he's not funding. Okay, nowhere in his budget speech was property tax relief for the citizens of Illinois. I will invite everybody listening to this right now who owns a home is pretty upset about their property taxes. Nowhere in this speech, well, that's not true. He's like, "Oh, we're going to do a little bit better for development disabled. We're going to get to 140% of minimum wage on our frontline workers for development disabled." And he's supposed to we're supposed to just sit around and huzzah and clap and, "Oh, he's so magnanimous." Well, here's the fact, Seth. When he took over, when he came in as governor, we were at 150% of minimum wage funding our frontline workers. These are the people who feed, bathe, clothe, sanitation. You know what I mean? Our development disabled friends and neighbors. Okay, toilet them. I mean, these are the frontline people helping literally those who can least help themselves. This is the group that needs help, and under Governor Pritzker, we went from 150% down to 140%. Also, we can give free health care to illegals. I mean, think about that. Just despicable at some level.
Mm-hmm. Right, and then he has the nerve to go out and call on people to be humanitarians and all that stuff.
Right. Well, or he has the nerve to go out and call everybody who voted for Trump a Nazi. I mean, that's ridiculous. Okay. Mm-hmm. You can't even take care of the development disabled in your own damn state, governor, because you're too busy flying your presidential ambition plane all over the country. Again, this is what I'm talking about. Park your presidential ambition plane, come back to Illinois, be governor of Illinois. Let's talk about things like, development disability funding, K-12 school funding, property tax relief for the citizens of Illinois. Let's talk about those things. but that would involve Governor Pritzker, not taking every opportunity to poke everybody in the eye who, voted for Trump. I mean, they're like, Nazi? Really? Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I just, I don't get it. I mean,
even even during the 4 years of Joe Biden, it was still all Trump for Pritzker. So it was, this has been his shtick for a while, and it seems like he's not breaking off of it. Elsewhere in the budget, Rose, I think of last year it was like grocery tax relief, gas tax, all those things. Anything along those lines this year?
Well, the grocery tax, so-called grocery tax relief, passed last year to eliminate the 1% grocery tax in Illinois. However, they gave every local community in Illinois the right to bring it back locally via local city council votes. And, oh, by the way, for non-home rule municipalities, they gave them the right to bring back not just grocery taxes, but a 1% tax on everything else you buy in a town. So I don't really.
But I thought he wasn't raising taxes.
That relief. So
I thought he wasn't raising taxes, though, Rose.
Pritzker, that's all the guy knows how to do. Again, we'll see where this final budget lands. I don't think his document was a serious document. I just don't. On the other hand, it will be a blueprint for the legislative budget process that really, now begins basically next week as hearings gear up. We'll be bringing all the agencies to go through their requests.
Mm-hmm.
This will begin that process to get the final budget in May.
Gotcha. Well, Rose, I'll tell you what, my friend. Let's take a break. I'll chat with you off the air about what we want to hit on the other side of that. But State Senator Chapin Rose, our guest on the phone this morning. More to come with him on the morning show.
WHOW. .org.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn lower, beans higher, wheat lower. March corn down 7 1/4, 471. May corn 486 1/2, down 7. December new crop down 4, 463. March beans up 5 3/4, 1030 1/4. May beans 1047 up 5 3/4. November new crop 1050 up 4 1/2. March wheat is down 17, 549. May wheat down 14 3/4, 564 3/4. March bean meal 293.10 down 30 cents. March bean oil up 48 cents, 45.45. Livestock market, March feeders 275.20 up 82 cents. February live cattle 199.40 up 57 cents. April lean hogs 86.07 down 2.22. Energy market, April crude oil up $1.55, 70.17. And I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
Hear Clinton Maroon live play-by-play this season on WHOW, the Big 1520 daytime, 92.3 FM in DeWitt County and 106.5 in Bloomington Normal all the time. Plus streamed at DeWittDailyNews.com on the WHOW mobile app and Amazon Alexa. Plus, hear a best of Clinton sports broadcast Saturday mornings at 10, all brought to you by Warner Hospital and Health Services, Vaughn Chevrolet Buick, Love It Once More Thrift Store, and Mid-State Eye.
If the flu's got you down, the Warner Hospital and Health Services Walk-In Clinic inside Family Medicine can help you feel better fast. CEO Paul Skowron inviting you to make us your backup plan to better health. Find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. State Senator Chapin Rose on the phone with us today. And Rose, tell me about an audit that went on for, was it Medicare or Medicaid? I'm trying to remember.
Neither.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was one of those.
Yeah, this is straight up state taxpayer dollars. This is the free health care for illegals. And this is a Governor Pritzker initiative. And let me just give you some numbers here, okay? So for 65 and over population, Pritzker estimates it's going to cost $224 million, end up costing $412 million. That's 84% off. He said for 55 to 64-year-olds, the cost of this free health care for illegals is going to be $58 million, ends up being $223 million. It's off 282%. For 42 to 54-year-olds, think about what I just said there. 42 to 50-year-olds, in your prime peak earning years, you're getting free health care from the state taxpayers. He says, oh, it's only going to cost $68 million. It ends up costing $262 million. It was off 286%. Okay? That's just the beginning. Then we find out in the audit that they messed up and enrolled 6,000 people who should have never been enrolled. They had enrolled 688 people in the 65 and over program who weren't over the age of 65. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, okay?
Right.
You literally can't make this stuff up. 6,098 people were enrolled as undocumented who actually had Social Security numbers, which means they weren't illegal in the first place. So they should have never been on this program, all right? I mean, this is who JB Pritzker is. He issues a press release to win a Democratic primary for president, claiming he's giving free health care to illegals and that damn Donald Trump wants to keep everybody out of the country, right? He says, oh, don't worry about it. It's not going to cost that much money. Then he completely mismanages it, and he's wrong on all fronts in terms of the cost and the management of the program. And at the end of the day, you and I and everybody else listening to this that pays Illinois income taxes paid for this, all right? And then for the privilege of paying Illinois income tax to give somebody else free health care who isn't even a United States citizen, we all get to turn around and pay our premiums and our co-pays for our family.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
This is BS. But this is who J.B. Pritzker is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, he's got to have the backing of the legislature, too. I mean, it's not just him.
You're right. You're absolutely correct about that. Thank you for pointing that out. This is the modern Democratic Party in this country and in this state. They care more about an able-bodied person who's able enough to get from Mexico to Illinois, okay, than they do about how much you and your family are paying for your own health care insurance.
Yep. Wild. It's wild. It's really something. But
let me give you another.
Go for it.
Environmentalists. They claim to be green. They're green all day long. We're saving the environment, right? And then what do they do to our Muhammad Aquifer? They pass a bill that J.B. Pritzker cuts the deal behind closed doors. No one sees it. It shows up out of thin blue air on Memorial Day weekend when everyone's at home with their families barbecuing. Here comes this bill to allow carbon sequestration under our aquifer, in our aquifer, okay, carbon dioxide to be pulled out of the air in the name of saving the environment. They're going to put it in our water where if it escapes, like exactly what happened in Champaign County 10 years ago with People's Gas, a natural gas leak, if it escapes into your water, it converts to carbonic acid, which is really nasty stuff that ends up making it, it's not just carbonic acid. It's actually carbonic acid is then going to release arsenic and other toxic metals into your water. But these guys claim all day long, again, the press release for president, the presidential ambition plane, I'm an environmentalist. I'm green. I'm saving the climate. And they're saving the climate by poisoning our water. I mean, these people are the biggest bunch of phonies on the earth.
And I'm not being facetious when I say this. I thought that the carbon sequestration efforts, I thought that all got kind of the kibosh put on it a while back.
Oh, no, not at all. Now, I think it remains to be seen if President Trump is going to put the kibosh on it, okay? But there are there are already 4, if not 5 different pipelines planned to pipeline carbon all the way here to Central Illinois to store it. In fact, one of the storage sites is in Lincoln, around Lincoln area.
Maybe it was an individual project I'm thinking.
Our water.
Okay.
What's that?
Maybe it was an individual project I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that, but I can tell you that this is not. Now, I do think if the Trump Department of Energy changes some of the rules around sequestration or changes some of the subsidization of it, I think that might stop this.
Mm-hmm.
But J.B. Pritzker, Captain Green over there in Chicago, telling everybody what a great environmentalist he is, he's just pulling someone else's trash out of their neighborhood and plopping it down in our neighborhood. That's all he's doing.
Yeah. Happens a lot. That sort of thing happens a lot for sure. By the way, Muhammad Aquifer, anything else on that front there, Rose?
No, I mean, this is the big one right now is stopping this sequestration of carbon under our water. It was, talk about how, you couldn't make this stuff up, Seth, but he's got this bill and he's telling us how great he is for the environment. He's gonna sign the bill down at Decatur at Richland on top of the carbon sequestration site that was being run down there at Richland College by ADM, and he's literally signed this bill, telling us all how safe it is to store carbon and how this technology is safe and superior, and we have nothing to worry about locally, right? He's signing the bill in Decatur, and it turns out, as he was signing the bill, the sequestration center pipe that he was standing on top of was actually leaking. And then he signed the bill in June or July, and we find out in like August or September, oops, look at that. The very same technology you told us was so safe had been leaking the entire time, including when Governor Pritzker signed the bill on top of it. So you can't make that stuff up. But
it's irony, really.
It really is. And it just proves just how unsafe this stuff really is.
Mm-hmm.
You can go, and frankly, Seth, you can do sequestration off the aquifer. The aquifer is just the central band of Illinois. You don't have to go in the aquifer.
Right.
To do this that are, that would not jeopardize the sole source drinking water for a million Illinois.
Right. That's I tell you, there's from what I've heard, there's vast space in Illinois for this if that's something you want to do. But Rose, I hate to do this to you, my man. We are quickly running out of time. Always good to talk to you. Thanks for making time for us.
Hey, brother, have a great day.
You do the same. Be safe out there. State Senator Chapin Rose on the phone with us. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. And again, if you miss any of our morning show programming, check out our